Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. I, of course, with Originator Success here with the Daily Rate Lock Conversation, the only place on the web where you guys get to be a part of the conversation, our mortgage rate update. Remember, you can go ahead and join me live each and every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. As I do these videos, if you're watching on the replay, do me a favor, give me a hashtag replay. Let me know that you're here. Don't forget to smash that like button, the thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tag an LO friend, share us in a group. Remember, you can sign up for our written email lock advice already sent out this morning, www.ratelockadvice.com. You can get our text alerts, www.ratetextalerts.com. Last but not least, check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out how we help you get loans from Google and social media. Let's say hi. Who do we got here this morning? We got Mike Tebow, Bobby Searson, Monica Dinkins. Good morning, y'all. Great to see you here. Lisa Bollinger, Ron Siegel. Good morning, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you're spending it with friends and or family that are your friends, hopefully. Yep. Thank you for wishing me one as well, Bobby. Good morning. All right. So this morning, rate sheet should be a smidge better than yesterday. Not going to see a ton better, but bonds are a little bit better. We did pick up some gains yesterday. However, lenders tend to be a little more conservative ahead of the holiday. They don't want to get caught out there if there's a pullback. So they tend to kind of price a little more conservative today. Quick recap, bonds were quiet. I still say on Friday, but it was actually yesterday. Bonds were quiet yesterday. You can see here, not a lot of big movement. Let me go ahead and throw this up here. And so you can take a look here and see we lost a little bit of ground early afternoon, but then picked that back up this morning. Started out with a little bit of gains. Lost a little ground this morning when we saw the got some data. The jobless claims came in a little bit lower than expected, and markets really want to see signs of a softening labor market. However, the durable goods orders came in weaker than expected. So that kind of offset. Right now, bonds, flattish. At 10 a.m., we're going to get consumer sentiment. That's likely to show a little bit of weakness. That could push bonds up to improve from here. Watch this 10-year Treasury yield. We're testing the 100-day moving average. I'm going to go ahead and move this to 1 month so you can really see that right here. The 100-day moving average at 4.35. Right now we're at 4.38. So we are likely to test this. I don't think we're going to break below it though. Next week, it's possible we could, but I don't necessarily think that we will. However, remember when it comes to the week of December 12th, that's when we're going to get, December 4th, that's when we're going to get all of the action. So next week should be a pretty quiet week. There shouldn't be a lot of movement in there. But the week of December 4th, we're going to get all the jobs data, the JOLTS, the ADP report, all the non-farm payroll, wages, unemployment. We're going to get all that stuff that week. And then the following week, we get CPI and the Fed meeting. So the first 2 full weeks of December, definitely likely to see rates move lower. There's a very good chance that we see rates move lower, especially if Powell continues to give a dovish message. So repricers today is low. I'm going to call it kind of moderate just because if we do see any kind of movement today in bonds, lenders will be quick to reprice worse. And any moves that we do see in bonds are generally going to be because there's very low trading. But otherwise, once we get this consumer sentiment reading out of the way at 10 a.m., everybody's done for the weekend. They're not going to be back till Monday. It should basically be quiet. Again, the outlook's still looking really good for rates next week. Not likely to see any real big moves. We could get some capping out ahead of December 4th. And that's, again, when we look here and see that the 10-year will be testing this 100-day moving average as a resistance level, we've got, we could, if I were to take and draw a screenshot on this guy here, let me go ahead and do that for you. I'll show you guys something cool. Come on. There it is. Okay, so hold on a minute. All right, so if we pull this one up here, basically, if we were to, we're going to draw a line right about here. Let me just move that down a little bit. It's a little crooked. There we go. All right, so we've got a line like right about here. So this is all based on past performance, and you could see that we're going to get close to testing that. And then this purple line testing the 200-day moving average. That is a little bit higher up, but we got some resistance right here. Let me see what that would actually look like. That's going to be right around 100.23. And right now we're at 100. So we've got about 20 basis points of room before it's likely that we definitely, I think if we do hit this, that we're going to bounce back down. We're going to need to see the data coming in the first couple weeks of December, the Fed meeting, the CPI, inflation data, all that needs to come in and help us to break through this. And then if that were to happen, let's take a look and put this on a year. I mean, that would push us back up to the best levels we saw back in April, May, early in the year. We have recovered. Look at how significant this recovery is right here. I mean, look at that bounce. It's a really, really solid bounce. Definitely something we should be excited about. Here's a close up of it so you can see it even more clearly. We've got that big drop down and then coming back and recovering. So I mean, just look at this sentiment shift that we had here. Boom. I was concerned right here when we got that CPI data. Since then, we've held up. We busted through that 100-day moving averages green line here, and we have just pushed right above that, held above that with no problem at all. This 10-year Treasury yield, again, we were testing 5. We had touched on 5 not too long ago. I mean, right here in October, barely a month ago. And now we are back to below 4.4. That is a huge, huge recovery. So I think we are definitely all set there. And, Mike said, nice turkey emoji rate lock advice this morning. Yeah, that was here. I'll show that to everyone else, Mike, who might not have seen that one. So that's just my fun one here. I'll pop that over here for y'all. That's my cautiously float turkeys that I've had for quite a long time. So anyway, that's kind of all we got going on, my friends. Lock advice remains to float. Don't be afraid to lock those loans that are closing the next couple of weeks. Next week, it's going to be tough to see significantly improved pricing next week. I mean, it's possible we could see a little bit better rate sheets, but it's going to be tough to see significantly improved pricing. But loans with time, definitely want to wait and see what December brings. We could see rates break down. I mean, again, this is going to put us in a much better position. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be a tough 2024. But at least it's improving. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It's not that we're going to see rates that are significantly lower, but if we see rates that we want to see rates moving lower a little bit at a time, that would be the best thing that we could see. We want to try to avoid those EPOs. The problem is if we see rates coming down a little bit at a time, you're going to have consumers that are, once they see that pattern start to emerge, they're going to be looking for that. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle with that. Happy Thanksgiving, Bill Stevens. Ron Siegel said, is it too fast of a recovery? No, not. And that's why it's not, Ron, not yet. I don't think we really belonged in the 8s. You could see that. I mean, we were there a month ago, and then this is back where we are. I think we're going to end up in the 6s for, a good portion of 2024, and then back into the 5s, the low 5s for 2025. And I think we'll see a healthy market. Remember, people that have rates in the 3s are going to go ahead and buy new houses when rates are in the 5s. I think we're at least a year away from that. We need to see some of those price cuts come that we talked about. Right now, when you look at markets, basically right now, when we look at the Fed futures, no expectation of a Fed rate hike in December. We've talked about that many times. No expectation of a Fed rate hike or cut in January. By the time we get to March, markets are starting to add in that they think, right now, 27% expectation that we could see a cut in March. The May meeting, that jumps to about 60%. And then by June, you're looking at over 80% that believe we're going to see a cut. So, I think by the middle of next year, we are going to see rates start to cut. And I think a natural, healthy mortgage rates are in the 5s, maybe in the high 4s even, but in the 5s. 2017, I bought my house. I was 4 1/8. Those were great rates. Come on, imagine being in the 4s, but I think 5s are a real healthy economy. If we get rates in the 5s, people will move. People aren't going to move from 3% to 8%, 3% to 7%, but they will move from 3% to 5%, maybe a couple of points, and then they bind down into the 4s. That'll be healthy. So I think we get there. I think it's going to be 12 months. If we see a very strong economic slowdown and a true recessionary condition, if the labor market starts to slow down, That will speed this process up, and I'm hoping that that doesn't happen, to be quite honest. I want to get that soft landing that they have been hoping for and looks like we are getting. That would, in my opinion, be the best way. So Mike said, what is your opinion about buy downs? I wouldn't do a permanent buy down right now. I just think that it would make more sense. It's You don't recover your money in a permanent buy down in a year, but temporary buy downs, especially in markets where they can get seller concessions, a temporary buy down doesn't make sense if the buyer has to pay for it. Obviously, the buyer should just, you know, grit their teeth and run through. But rather than a price reduction, getting the seller to do a seller concession and negotiate, again, agents need to be told about this and educated and encouraged. But rather than going in and offering a lower amount, the psychology to offering what they're asking for, but asking for some concessions, that's a much better deal in the psychology of the seller. Believe it or not, it's proven. And the reality is that that could really work well for the buyer. Getting a one, I would even do like a 2-1 buy down. There's nothing wrong with the 2-1 buy down, because for those of you that may not realize, that money is escrowed. That money gets applied to a principal reduction, so they don't lose anything if they refinance early. A 1-0 buy down, that's less of a benefit, but I would even take that in this market, and I think that that's going to help us to get more people off the fence. But I wouldn't do a lot of permanent buy downs. Maybe some of the Govy stuff, but I mean, come on, rates are still high, and they're going to we've plateaued at where the Fed has raised rates. The Fed is going to cut rates down to a neutral level. Mortgage rates will sink back down. The 10-year Treasury yield will drop back into the threes. These things will happen. That's normally what we see. That's kind of a normal, healthy economic environment. So I would not be big on doing points right now. I think that what's going to happen is that's going to tie people into loans that they're going to feel frustrated about later. So since you asked my opinion, Mike, I gave it to you. What do you guys think about buy downs? Let me know in the comments. Curious what you guys think. If you're encouraging buy downs right now, or if you're, staying in people. And by the way, now is the time to have a product, something like Originator Success. We keep you in front of all your past clients. We're going to help you to get those refis. We'll have campaigns in place. We're not a CRM. We are much better than a CRM. Go check us out at originatorssuccess.com and learn about what we do and how we help you. So that's it, my friends. I'll wrap it up for Wednesday. You guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Ron said, I only do permanent buy downs if the seller is paying for it. And I totally get that. Better to have sellers paying for closings and prepaids. Yeah, but sometimes, depending on loan amounts too, you got $400,000 or $500,000 loans. You can get 6% seller concession. That's 30 grand. So there's a lot that you could do with that. Robert said, depends on the buyer's plans on length of the home. Again, I don't care how long they're in it right now, but Ron, Robert, I don't think that it matters, because I think you're going to be refinancing in a year. I just don't think you want to get people tied in. Permanent buy down allows for higher purchase price qualification. That's true, Ron. That is true. So Ron's got a great point there, and it shows why he's a pro. So, all right, y'all. Josh said buy downs are a great product for right now. Gives you another opportunity to regularly check in with clients, as well as make sure they're not racking up monthly debt before refinance opportunities. Absolutely. All right, my friends, I'm going to wrap it up. You guys have a happy, wonderful, healthy, awesome Thanksgiving. I will do a video on Friday, but there's not going to be much to say. And I'll just be popping in if anyone wants to say hi, and then we'll get back on track on Monday. All right, my friends, I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.